Once, in a secluded mountain monastery, there lived a Zen master named Ryōkan. Known for his profound wisdom and compassionate heart, Ryōkan had dedicated his life to the pursuit of enlightenment and guiding others on their spiritual journeys. His teachings were simple yet profound, often delivered through everyday actions and gentle words that carried the weight of centuries of Zen wisdom. One misty morning, as the first light of dawn painted the sky in soft hues, a young woman named Akira arrived at the monastery gates. Her steps were heavy, her shoulders bowed under the weight of recent betrayal. Akira had trusted someone deeply, only to discover that their friendship was a facade, a mask hiding ulterior motives and deceit. As Akira entered the monastery grounds, she found Ryōkan tending to the Zen garden, his movements deliberate and mindful as he raked patterns into the sand. Sensing her presence, Ryōkan looked up, his eyes filled with understanding and compassion. "Welcome, young one," he said softly. "What brings you to our humble monastery?" Akira bowed respectfully, her voice trembling as she spoke. "Venerable Master, I seek your guidance. My heart is heavy with betrayal, and I find myself lost in a world where genuine connections seem rare. How can I learn to identify those who are true from those who wear masks of deceit?" Ryōkan nodded slowly, setting aside his rake. "Come," he said, gesturing towards a simple wooden bench near a bubbling stream. "Let us sit and talk." As they settled on the bench, the gentle sound of flowing water filling the air, Ryōkan closed his eyes for a moment, allowing the question to settle in his mind. When he opened them again, his gaze was filled with warmth and wisdom. "Akira," he began, "to see clearly in others, one must first look within. The ability to discern truth from falsehood begins with knowing oneself. Tell me, how well do you know your own heart?" Akira furrowed her brow, considering the question. I'm not sure, Master. I thought I knew myself, but recent events have shaken my confidence." Ryōkan nodded understandingly. "This is a common experience, Akira. Our understanding of ourselves deepens through challenges and reflection. Let us start there. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths." As Akira followed his instruction, Ryōkan continued, his voice gentle yet firm. "Now observe your thoughts and feelings without judgment. Notice how they arise and pass away, like clouds in the sky. This practice of self-observation is the foundation of discernment." After a few moments of silence, Ryōkan spoke again. "Open your eyes, Akira. This simple exercise is a tool you can use anytime. By cultivating awareness of your own mind, you develop the ability to see more clearly in others." Akira opened her eyes, feeling a sense of calm she hadn't experienced in weeks. "Thank you, Master. But how does this help me identify fake people?" Ryōkan smiled. An excellent question. You see, when we know ourselves deeply, we become attuned to authenticity in others. We can sense when someone's words and actions align with their true nature, and when they do not. He paused, picking up a smooth pebble from the ground. "Observe without judgment, Akira. Notice how people act when they believe no one is watching. True character reveals itself in small moments, like ripples created by this pebble in a still pond." As he spoke, Ryōkan gently tossed the pebble into the stream, and they watched the ripples expand outward. "Remember," he continued, "that words are but whispers on the wind. Actions, however, are the true voice of one's nature. Look for consistency between what is said and what is done. Genuine people embody their words and their actions, while those wearing masks often show discrepancies." Akira nodded, absorbing the wisdom. "But Master," she asked, "how can I protect myself from those who would deceive me?" Ryōkan's eyes twinkled with understanding. "Protection, Akira, comes not from building walls, but from cultivating awareness. Like a lotus rising from muddy waters, let your discernment grow from your experiences, both pleasant and painful. Each interaction, each relationship offers a lesson if we are open to learning." He paused, allowing the wisdom to settle. "Now let me share with you a story that might illuminate this further." Akira leaned in, eager to hear more. Two monks were walking along a river when they came upon a woman unable to cross. The first monk, without hesitation, lifted her in his arms and carried her across. The second monk was astonished, as their vows forbade touching women. They continued their journey in silence for several hours. Finally, unable to contain himself any longer, the second monk burst out. "How could you carry that woman? It's against our vows." The first monk replied calmly, "I set her down on the other side of the river. Why are you still carrying her?" Ryōkan looked at Akira, his eyes twinkling. "What do you think this story tells us about identifying genuine people?" Akira pondered for a moment, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Perhaps that genuine people act with compassion without being bound by rigid rules or expectations?" "Excellent observation," Ryōkan nodded approvingly. "And what else?" "That those who are fake might be more concerned with appearances or judging others than with actually helping," Akira ventured. "You are beginning to see clearly, Akira," Ryōkan smiled. "The first monk demonstrated authenticity by acting with pure intention, free from attachment to rules or fear of judgment. The second monk, while outwardly adhering to the rules, carried the burden of judgment in rigid thinking. In identifying others, we also identify ourselves. Cultivate compassion, act with integrity, and you will naturally draw genuine people to you." Akira felt a spark of understanding ignite within her. "But Master, how can I apply this wisdom in my daily life?" Ryōkan nodded, pleased with her eagerness to learn. "Practice mindfulness in your interactions, Akira. When you meet someone, be fully present. Listen not just to their words, but to the silence between them. Observe their body language, the consistency of their actions over time. Trust your intuition, but verify with patience and awareness." He continued, "Remember, identifying fake people is not about judgment or creating division. It's about developing the wisdom to nurture healthy relationships and protect your own well-being. Approach each person with an open heart, but also with clear eyes." As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Akira found herself filled with a sense of hope and clarity she hadn't felt in months. "Thank you, Master Ryōkan. Your words have given me much to reflect upon." Ryōkan smiled warmly. "You are welcome, Akira. But remember, true understanding comes not from words alone, but from putting these teachings into practice. I invite you to stay with us for a while, to immerse yourself in the rhythms of monastery life and deepen your practice of mindfulness and discernment." Grateful for the opportunity, Akira accepted the invitation. In the weeks that followed, she immersed herself in the daily routines of the monastery. She learned to sit in zazen meditation, cultivating awareness of her thoughts and emotions. She practiced mindful work in the gardens, observing how her fellow monks approached their tasks with presence and care. Each day, Ryōkan would share a small teaching, or koan, encouraging Akira to reflect deeply on its meaning. Slowly but surely, she began to develop a keener sense of discernment, not just in others, but in herself as well. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset paint the sky in vibrant hues, Ryōkan turned to Akira. "Tell me, young one, what have you learned in your time here?" Akira took a moment to gather her thoughts before responding. "I've learned that true discernment begins with self-awareness, that by observing my own thoughts and actions without judgment, I can better understand the motivations of others. I've learned to value actions over words, to look for consistency and integrity in those around me." She paused, then continued, "But perhaps most importantly, I've learned that identifying fake people isn't about creating barriers or living in fear. It's about cultivating wisdom and compassion, about creating space for genuine connections to flourish." Ryōkan nodded, his eyes filled with pride and affection. "You have learned well, Akira. Remember, this is a lifelong practice. There will be times when you may still be deceived, for even the wisest among us can be blinded by our own desires or expectations. But with each experience, your discernment will grow stronger, your wisdom deeper." As the last light of day faded, Ryōkan offered one final piece of advice. "Go forth into the world, Akira. Share your light, your authenticity. For in being true to yourself, you create a space for others to do the same. And in this way, you not only learn to identify genuine people, but become a beacon for authenticity yourself." With a heart full of gratitude and newfound wisdom, Akira bowed deeply to Ryōkan. She left the monastery the next day, ready to face the world with clear eyes and an open heart. And though she would face many challenges in the years to come, the lessons she learned from the wise Zen master stayed with her, guiding her towards genuine connections and a life lived with integrity and purpose. And so, dear listener, may you too carry these lessons with you. May you cultivate awareness, act with compassion, and navigate the complex web of human relationships with wisdom and clarity. For in learning to see others clearly, we ultimately learn to see ourselves. If you enjoyed this story and found its wisdom helpful, please consider subscribing to the channel for more enlightening content.